Alright, so I'm going to be making another guide video, and today we're in the end. We're going to be talking about how to get the JuJu shortbow if you're on an IRONMAN profile. So, I don't know, let's just get into it. Alright, before we continue, I just found out that apparently I'm now in some random subscriber race with some random kid I met on the street named Fiazishnu. We're racing to see who can hit 500 subscribers first, and I'm getting brutally smacked down, so if you would like to help me assert my dominance and prove that I possess the superior channel, press a button. It's that easy. I know you want to do it. Do it. Or I'll find where you live. I will put up some timestamps up on the display real fast, so that way you can skip to the part that you actually care about if you're only here for the tier 2 guide. And hopefully I don't mess them up this time. Let's go. Now the first thing we have to look at, of course, is the recipe to be able to make the JuJu shortbow. Now the JuJu shortbow does require you to have Enderman Slayer 5, which we will talk about in a second. You need 3 stacks of enchanted string, half a stack of enchanted quartz blocks, half a stack of enchanted eyes of ender, and half a stack of null voids. Now, in order to obtain the enchanted string, I would recommend just putting down a spider minion or a tarantula minion and just letting that cook for a bit. The enchanted eyes of ender, they should not take long whatsoever. This is actually the exact same amount of enchanted eyes of ender you needed to be able to make the aspect of the end. So if you already made an aspect of the end, if you made an aspect of the end, this shouldn't be that hard to do at all. The enchanted quartz, I would recommend that you go for this in the new area that they added to the Dwarven Mines. Basically, there's this new little area that you can access within the Dwarven Mines after you do this little quest, I believe, and inside there are some quartz veins of quartz blocks that you can mine, because it's much faster than the old Crimson Owl quartz mining methods, but it might take some time to find an empty lobby though, so do watch out for that. Now, the final element of the JuJu is this half stack of null voids. This is definitely the most difficult part. To obtain every one null void, you need 32 enchanted obsidian and 2 stacks of null spheres. In order to obtain the obsidian, if your mining setup isn't that good, you can just come over to one of these spikes. I would recommend coming over to this one. The coordinates are minus 612, 106, minus 174. And the reason it's good is because of how flat it is. So if you don't have a good mining setup, you can just mine in circles here. Now my mining setup is like really good, so I'm not really going to be able to do it here. You can see I'm mining faster than the thing respawns. But if you don't have a good mining setup, you can just mine here and just go until you get the 32 enchanted obsidian blocks. However, if you do have a good mining setup, you can use a different method, which you'll have to look up how to do because I don't know the exact location. There's a specific location where you have to do this in. That's it? I don't know. But basically, you have to use the mining speed boost mining ability, and you have to have your main drill and a secondary drill that has a blue cheese goblin omelet part attached to it, and this will basically allow you to, if you drill swap fast enough, basically you hold this drill, swap to the second drill, right click, and then go back to this drill really fast. You can insta-mine obsidian, which is by far the fastest way to obtain it. There's a specific location where it's best to do this at. I don't know what it is. You'll have to look up an obsidian mining tutorial for that. If I can find a good one, I'll link one in the description. And now the final method of obtaining obsidian is by going to the dragon den and killing these obsidian defenders. The obsidian defenders, they will have a chance to drop enchanted obsidian. If we go here, the obsidian defenders will have a guaranteed chance to drop 1 enchanted obsidian. I didn't actually know that. And they'll drop 2 to 3 obsidian. So you can grab these guys to be able to get the JuJu as well. If you have a really good mining setup, I would recommend just mining the obsidian up there with the insta-mine method. If you don't, I would recommend just doing this. Honestly, because it's 1 guaranteed per kill, it's faster. If you can find a good enough lobby where there's not a million dudes who are sweating to compete with you for kills. Let's talk about the null spheres. Null spheres are a drop from all levels of the Enderman Slayer boss. And of course, the higher the level of the boss, the more null spheres it will drop. For example, tier 4 will drop between 105 to 155, or tier 1 will only drop 2 to 3. And it's these null spheres that make the whole grind for the JuJu really difficult. You see, you need 2 stacks of null spheres for 1 null ovoid, and you need 32 null ovoids for the JuJu. This equates to, I believe, 4,096 null spheres. That's quite a lot, actually. Now, if you were to go and try to obtain all null spheres with just doing tier 1s, it will be guaranteed to take you more than 1,000 tier 1 bosses, which takes a really long time. Trust me, I speak from experience. I did that on my old profile. It's not a good idea. And even if you somehow get like minimal luck, as unlucky as possible, you would have to do over 2,000 bosses to get the JuJu shortbow. So do not do tier 1s. Now at the same time, the tier 4 and tier 3 are just way above your pay grade. At this point, you're not going to have any of the necessary supplies to be able to take them out. Maybe the tier 3 if you spend a lot of time grinding for it, but by that point, you'll already have more than enough resources to be able to make the JuJu in the first place, so there's no point in doing that. Now that leaves just the tier 2 voidgloom. Now here we can look at some of the stats. The tier 1 is pretty easy to beat, 300,000 HP, 1,200 damage a second. It's not that hard to beat. The tier 3 has 50 million HP and does 12,000 damage per second, and I haven't even beaten a tier 3, so I don't know what the stats of a tier 4 are, but I'm pretty sure it's 210 million HP, and the damage is, I forgot. Somebody tell me in the comments. Anyway, the tier 2 has 12 million HP and does 5,000 damage a second, and its abilities, it has 3 hit shields. So what a hit shield is, it's when it reaches a certain point of HP, it'll gain a shield that you have to hit the boss a certain amount of times to break before you can continue to damage it. And for the tier 2 boss, it's 30 hits that you have to deal. And when the tier 2 boss drops below half HP, so that's less than 6 million health, it'll start to throw these beacons that you have to run to and within 5 seconds and stand next to them for at least 1 second, or they explode and you will immediately die. Now, even if you do decide to do tier 2s, you will still have to do over 200 of them, which is going to be more than enough to bring you to Enderman Slayer level 5, which is the requirement for the JuJu, so we don't really have to worry about that. Now, the question is, how are you going to kill a tier 2 voidgloom? Alright, so there's 2 ways that you can defeat the tier 2 voidgloom. One is by buying carries, which I think is kind of stupid, because if you're playing on IRONMAN, the whole point of it is to have to grind for everything yourself. Why are you relying on carries? And the second option is to get an insanely expensive setup, you know, at Hyperion, full storm armor, some mage equipment, cheap pet, everything, you know, get rich, and then you can beat it. But I have created a setup that I didn't create myself. I found it in a YouTube video that I stole, but I'm now not able to find the video. So I'm gonna claim credit. I am the genius scientist who came up with this. Let's talk about how to get it. First minion you'll need is a creeper minion. And the reason you'll need this is to get the gunpowder so you can make creeper pants. The next minion you're going to need is a fishing minion. And the reason you're going to want this one is so you can obtain the guardian chest plates. Then the last minions you're going to want are going to be string minion, iron minion, and the gravel minion. Now you could choose to grind these out on your own, but I would recommend doing them with minions so you can obtain the tarantula boots. Now there is still one piece missing on the setup, and that is the skeleton helmet, which is this one. However, you don't actually need to put down a minion to get the bones. I wouldn't recommend doing it, it would take too long. You see, all dungeon skeleton mobs will have a 2% chance to drop an enchanted bone. It doesn't take that long. Just do a bunch of entrance floor runs and just kill every mob over and over again until you get enough to make the skeleton chest plate. Now you might be wondering why I told you to go out and grab 4 completely unrelated armor pieces, but the thing is, these armor pieces aren't actually completely unrelated. If I take off my storm set and I put on these 4 pieces, you will see once I have put them all on, they get a new secret full set bonus, Monster Raider armor. You take 35% less damage when being attacked by monsters, and you deal 35% more damage when attacking monsters. This damage reduction is key to be able to beat the tier 2 voidgloom. Now the reforged stone you're going to want to put onto this armor is reinforced. Reinforced comes from the rare diamond, which is a reforged stone that you can get by mining diamonds in the diamond reserve or in the obsidian sanctuary. I believe it has a 0.2, 0.1% chance to drop from diamond ores, around that. And it's really good because it gives you the defense that you'll need to be able to tank the boss a bit better. You're also going to want to fully hot potato book this set and put as many enchants as you can on it. Growth 5, Prot 5. These ultimate enchants and stuff aren't necessary, but just enchant it as well as you can. Now for the pet that I believe is best to be able to take out a tier 2 voidgloom, and as a relatively early game Ironman, you might believe I would say something like the Enderman for its 30% damage reduction against ender mobs and also its crit damage. However, once again, that is not the case. The specific pet that you're going to want for this is a legendary rock pet. Get it as high level as you can. The reason the rock pet is good is because of the damage reduction that it grants. You see, it'll reduce the damage that you take by a decent amount because of the fact that it gives plus 25% defense at level 100, I believe. I don't know. And also, when you're sitting on it, you don't take knockback. And when you're sitting on it, you also deal more damage. So this is just really powerful. And because you don't take knockback, normally you would need to put something like the dwarf turtle shellmet. Like if you look at my blaze pet, you can see it says there dwarf turtle shellmet, and I use that so I don't take knockback when I'm doing things like dungeons or bosses. But because of the rock pet, because you're sitting on it, you can't take knockback, so you can put another item on it, which I decided to do the big teeth, which you can buy from the Zog NPC, I believe. Now the reason for this is because you might not have 100% crit chance with the setup, so it's important to have something to get more crit chance. Now for equipment, just get the best set of equipment you can. This is probably going to be part ender armor, and reforge them to menacing. But you're going to want to have a rift necklace, preferably an adaptive belt, and these two pieces you're going to want to just use the ender pieces. Now the ideal weapon for this setup is the Void Edge Katana. The Void Edge Katana is good because of its 200% damage from Enderman, and also it reduces damage you take from Enderman by 6%. It does have an ability that costs Soul Flow, which gives you a ton of ferocity against the boss for a bit, which works. It's definitely a good side of the sword, but we don't need it to be able to do my strategy. Now to get the sword, you need to get one refined mithril, a null void, and a void walker katana. The void walker katana is simply just a stick and some null spheres, so let's actually craft this. To get the null void, it's not that difficult. It's 2 stacks of null spheres. You just do some tier 1s to get this. And the refined mithril, of course, you just mine. Just mine. And now we have a Void Edge Katana. Alright, you're going to want to get it fully enchanted as well as you can. So, of course, Sharp 5.
Alright, now, of course, you don't need every enchant, but some of the ones I would recommend getting are Sharpness, of course. You're also going to want to get Giant Killer. And Siphon is very important, which is something I will explain in a second. And another thing is you're going to want to head over here and buy an Enderman Slayer 6. It's not that necessary if you have some extra magical power to like cover up for it, but I would still recommend getting this. It just speeds everything up, makes your life easier. Basically just put every enchant that increases the damage. Now I did mention that Siphon was really important, and the reason for this is the fact that Siphon will heal you based off of how much crit damage you have. If you can maximize this number as much as possible, it'll heal you really fast. And this healing, combined with the healing of the Wand of Restoration, or Wand of Mending, would... Yeah, you're probably not going to have this, but you're going to have Wand of Mending, and that will be enough to keep you alive. Now, for the magical power that you want to use, you're going to want to use Silky, because crit damage is crit damage. And again, the Siphon healing. Now, even though I have like 600 magical power, you only need 300 to do this strategy. I would recommend going to 350, but you only need 300. I did it with 300, so you should be able to do it as well, because I suck. Anyway, for our tuning points, the main goal is try to optimize your crit chance as well. You want 100% crit chance while sitting on your rock. So right now my crit chance is 98%, so let's go fix that. And by the way, the sword is reforged to sharp to increase crit chance even more. So go here. and we will tune stats. And we were 2 crit chance away from having 100%, so we just want to get 2 here, so that's... I should just do that. It's faster, 10 points. So while sitting on my rock, that's 100% crit chance. And the rest of your tuning points I will put into health. So now, sitting on my rock, holding my void edge, I have 100% crit chance. Now quickly, before I show how to actually do the boss, I want to quickly go over all the things that you're going to need to be able to do this boss fight. First of all, you're going to want full set of Monster Raider armor, as upgraded as you can, Prot 5, Growth 5, and fully reinforced. Full set of equipment, Reforged to Menacing. Probably these two pieces, the cloak and the gloves are going to be ender pieces. And you can use the adaptive belt and the rift necklace. A void edge katana reforged to sharp with as many enchants as possible that will increase the damage. And one thing I forgot to mention earlier was that you don't want prosecute on this, you want execute on this, because the boss, you're going to want to do more damage in the later stage of the boss, because it gets stronger. You're going to want a wand of mending, and you're also going to want to have a zombie sword. It doesn't matter what level, just anything for some instant healing. Alright, now let's talk about the boss, and I did swap to a PvP texture pack because I need frames. Now you're going to want to put the rock pet right here in the Zella Bruiser hideout, because it's a nice flat area for you to be able to fight the boss. The moment the boss spawns, you want to run over to your rock and quickly get on it, and this first hit shield, the boss will have 3 of them. This first one is going to be pretty difficult to do because you don't have any healing from Siphon yet. So what you want to do is you want to activate the Wand of Mending, and you want to start hitting the boss with your sword as fast as possible. And if you ever get low, just quickly use the zombie sword. Now you're in the main phase of the boss. This one's pretty easy. Just use your sword, kill it, deal damage, and you're actually not gonna need to have your Wand of Mending active 100% of the time. And because you don't need to have it active 100% of the time, don't spam it. You're gonna need to save your mana for when you have to do the beacons. Once you get the boss down past 6 million HP, it'll start to throw out these beacons, and all you have to do is run up to the beacon to disable it, and then get back on your rock pet. If you don't do that, you will die. The issue with this is that you have to get off of your rock pet and you lose all those stats. So this is where you're going to take the most damage in the entire boss fight. So this is where you're going to want to use all of your zombie sword charges left. You're going to be saving your charges as much as you can for this, and saving as much mana as possible. Now you might think it's a smart idea to use the AOTE to teleport to these crystals. However, that uses mana, and unless the crystal is in like a really weird spot that you can't get to, I wouldn't recommend using the AOTE to get to it. Just walk up to it and disable it that way. And there we go. I hope you guys enjoyed another really terribly edited tutorial on my channel. One thing I forgot to mention is that you don't actually need a god pot to do this method. At least I didn't use one, so you should also be able to get by without using one. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, subscribe or I must find you. I will locate you. Trust me. And like the video because algorithm, and comment because algorithm. If you have any questions regarding this setup or Enderman Slayer for Iron Man or just Iron Man in general, just put it down in the comments and I'll see if I can answer it. And I hope you have a good day. I will also be live streaming a lot, and if you want to know when I upload or go live, I will link me and my friend slash rival, now named Zyfix, Discord server in the description. So I'll join that. Trust me, it'll be funny. Trust me. Alright, bye.